Hey, everybody, it's Carol Morris from the Image Impact Group, and you are visiting us at the Visibility Room on air. And today I have with me one of my favorite people, Jennifer Switzer. Jen, hey.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just to give you a little 411, Jen and I have been friends for, gosh, I don't know, 20 years? More than that, probably.
Yes, when we were three, we met.
Yeah. We were three, mind you.
Yes.
Well, one of the reasons that I wanted to bring Jen on is because I think she's got such a fabulous story. So, when I first met Jen, she was a teacher and you had a long career in teaching. How long were you a teacher?
I was since, 30 years. We'll just leave it at that. 30
Yeah.
years I've been teaching.
And remember, do not do the math. Don't do the
Yeah,
math.
a lot of decades.
Yeah, yeah. But recently she made a complete talk about a complete pivot. So, Jen, tell everybody what you're doing now because it's pretty cool. And we're going to get to the story in a minute.
Absolutely. I own a damage restoration or remediation company.
And she's in Georgia. So, if you are in the Georgia area, this is your go to person. Now, imagine if you are a teacher for 30 years, how in the world are you jumping to remediation, mold remediation, fire damage, water damage? How in the world do you make this switch? So, Jen, tell me a little bit about what made you decide to go this route and what are you loving about it?
Well, it's definitely very different as far as what it looks like on the outside. But on the inside, it's all about nurturing and helping people to feel comfortable. And so I do that in the restoration space now. If there's a little bit of chaos, I help to provide some peace and calmness and a solution to a plan. So I've taken a lot of those experiences from education and applied them to the restoration space. Plus, I'm a property owner and I've been on the receiving end of property damage. So I understand and can empathize with customers who are going through the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we were talking about, you moving into the space and you sharing the background stories about what you've gone through as a homeowner, it just, became crystal clear that this was a good match for you. Tell me, I want to kind of get into the nitty-gritty about, when do people need to call you and what are they calling you for?
Absolutely. I'm here in Georgia, especially this season that has been having such high humidity. I get a lot of calls for concerns about mold or other microbial growth with good reason. And, when people hear the word mold, they're freaking out. And so I help to bring some calmness to that and a solution to the problem so that they can understand, hey, we're going to restore this and get this back to normal as quickly as possible for the safety and health of your family.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's part of it. And also, water damage, the same thing. You just want an immediate solution and you just want the help that can be there when you need it. And so that's rewarding to me for sure.
And there's some continuity, if you will, between what you did as a teacher and what you're doing now, which is, bringing calm to solutions that could be quite chaotic, and also to have that education component, because that's one of the things that I think you do so well is that it's one thing to go in and solve a problem, but it's another thing to walk people through why you're doing it, how it works, and what the expectations can be. Tell me a little bit about what is the process if you came to my house right now and you're like, Carol, you have got a mess, you just let this water sit there for way too long, how are you going to reassure me? What is that going to look like?
Absolutely. And that is one of the things that I enjoy. I'm not a home inspector, but I've owned property for a long time. And I enjoy the puzzle of trying to figure out what the problem is. So just last week, I walked with a property owner who's owned that property for 12 years. And in their unfinished basement, they all of a sudden have mold. And being able to walk the outside of their property and kind of talk about the depressions in the earth because of all the rain we've had
Mm.
that's sitting against their foundation, and talking about diverting gutters and just other things like that is a satisfying part of what I do. So, yes, are we going to solve your mold problem? Absolutely. But why was it happening is something that I can definitely bring to the table, and I have fun trying
Mhm.
to figure it out or
Oh,
offer
I like that.
solutions.
Yeah. I love that. And, obviously you work with homeowners, but from a professional, a B2B situation,
Mhm.
who are some of the people that should be looking out for how they can partner with you, from insurance companies to maybe home improvement people? I don't, what does that look like?
Absolutely. I mean, an insurance company has a concern to keep a client, and we at True North Restoration have the same goal to provide a great experience for a customer. And so that's something an insurance company definitely would like to see. We want people's properties to be restored as quickly and ethically as possible. And so that is one thing we care about, is that constant communication to the homeowner so they understand all the
Mhm.
process, and to do it as quickly as possible with the least disruption. And that makes for a satisfied and happy customer that's not going to cancel or quit their insurance.
I love that. I love that. What's maybe the single most common question that you get from a potential client?
If it's, mold damage, it's definitely, what do I do? Is this serious? And I can definitely reassure them that the steps that they can take, not only with me involved, but with other
Mhm.
professionals, whether that's air duct cleaning or HVAC or a plumber, offering them solutions or partners to help bring their property back to the way it was supposed to be. Um,
Let's jump back kind of to the water part of
yes.
things.
Okay. Sorry.
What I because there's so much that you can do, which I think is fascinating, right? So mold
Yes.
remediation,
Mhm.
water, fire. What, from a water standpoint, why is it important to call a professional? Why can't you just zap it up yourself, get a whatever, a commercial vacuum and suck it up and
Exactly.
call it a day?
Part of it is our equipment. The equipment that we use is commercial grade. It's definitely far superior to anything that's out there. And we also use
Mhm.
thermal imaging and moisture meters that really help to eradicate or get rid of all of the water, not just what you sop up, but whatever can go into the structure. We're
Mhm.
certified with applied structural drying. We understand that different structural materials dry at different rates, and to ensure that your entire wood frame or subfloor is dry is a part of what you are hiring us for, is that expertise and the equipment that we use.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you recently, I don't know how recent it was, but within the last 4 months, I would say,
Mhm.
you went out of state and you took your team, and it was a huge project. Can you share anything about that?
Absolutely. It was just a great opportunity. I'm a part of a franchise. And as such, we can come together for large loss or catastrophic events. And this happened to be a 60-unit apartment building that had been impacted by a tornado. And so that opportunity to come together as a team of, any time there were 55 to 70 people on the project, to get this property back to where it needed to be. The first step was to get rid of the water and,
Mhm.
remove any secondary damage in the form of mold or microbial growth. And so having that opportunity to work as a team is something that's a blessing, and just a fun part of the process, honestly, to feel a part of a bigger picture that you sometimes miss as just a solo owner.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I want to ask you a couple questions on that leadership front. So
Sure.
again, coming from a teaching background where you are leading a classroom, what is that like now as an entrepreneur and a franchisee? Is leadership still part of your everyday process? What does that look like, and how is that different?
Absolutely. It's really interesting to pick up little nuggets of information, whether that's from reading in professional
Mhm.
magazines or being connected through LinkedIn with other professionals in the same industry, or certifications or just owners chats, and also just conversations with others through different networking events, whether that's BNI or your chamber or
Mhm.
anything else, just kind of picking up conversations and learning other leadership skills from other people that can be applicable to my industry. And also just kind of feeding or pouring into my employees. I believe
Mhm.
firmly that if I treat my people great, they're going to carry that same positive attitude into the customer service that they provide to others. You know, great people that I pour into and help to educate and provide them with
Mhm.
opportunities will then create a better experience for the customer.
I love that. And I had the opportunity to fly out to Atlanta to work with Jen on site and get to know her team a little bit, and they are fantastic. So congratulations for that. Because I know when and I just came from a team meeting, and I know that when you are in the trenches and when you're building your own business, you are only as good as your team is. So that's such a huge component. Love that. How does being part of a franchise feel? So it's different, right? It's like entrepreneurial, being an entrepreneur with training wheels in the best
Yes.
possible way, right? Guardrails,
It's
if you
so
will.
reassuring
Yeah.
because it doesn't matter how long you're in the industry, something new will pop up
Yeah.
that you just maybe haven't experienced before. So it's really like, maybe I'm new to the industry, but I have 30 years of experience behind me. And so
Yeah.
just having that available to me at any given time to be on the phone. We all try out different franchises. Explore different opportunities, whether that's a new piece of
Mhm.
equipment or a new software or something, and they'll share it. And so it's interesting to get all that feedback so you get the best of the best to make it a great experience or as good as can be
Mhm.
when you're dealing with property damage.
I love that. I love that. Looking back at what's happened over the course of the past, well, it's past time. I don't even know if it's been a year yet, because I know it's been under construction, if you
Yes.
will, right? The business is under construction, trying to open. But what has your favorite thing been in the course of getting to where you sit now?
Um, wow. There's a couple of, I don't know if there's favorites because there's two components.
Mhm.
I really
Okay.
enjoy helping my employees to grow and to give them new opportunities to try something kind of like a cross training. I'm like,
Mhm.
I might not want you to be an estimator, but it's fun to learn this software and I'm going to provide you the opportunity and time to do, that and learn that. So I really enjoy promoting those values and, the pursuit of knowledge with my
Yeah.
team. And I carry that same pursuit of knowledge to my customers and trying to teach them new things. I had one property owner, I was there to deal with a water damage mold issue, but I kind of talked
Mhm.
about some other places that moisture can be. And I walked out, I just simply asked him, do you know what a dryer vent is? And he's like, no, what is that? I'm like, that's the place where your air goes outside. I'm like, do you know where yours is? He said, yeah, I know where that is. I'm like, let's go walk out there. So we walked out there and I made sure there weren't any spiders underneath. And I reached my hand up there and pulled out just a huge wad of lint. And he was like, just shocked. I'm like, that could be a potential fire hazard, but it also holds moisture.
Yeah.
I'm like, you got to clean that out. And he was just so excited to be able to go do that at his mom's house. And he's in his 30s. So that was super fun. Just that pursuit of knowledge is really my
Yeah.
favorite part about the whole thing.
Well, I can't say I'm surprised coming from a past teacher, right?
Yes.
Teaching is something that you carry through, and I actually, this is actually a weird coincidence, and I wasn't going to bring this up, but it's kind of part of
Okay.
our story too.
Okay.
Is that I come from a family of teachers. My sister's a teacher, my dad was a teacher, my mom was a teacher. And here's the weirdest story about Jen and I. So
Oh, it is.
we met because I lived in Georgia for a couple years, and we met because my son started a new nursery school, and he fell in love with the most beautiful little girl in the nursery school, and that was Jen's daughter. And lo and behold, Jen and I become friends. My mom comes out. We're all sitting together. Jen's mom, my mom. Jen and I, and my mom starts talking, and it turns out that Jen's grandma was my mom's mentor when she was a brand new teacher.
And this was in Georgia. We discovered that
Yeah.
connection to Michigan. So yeah,
Yeah.
super fun.
So
It's a small
bizarre.
world.
Small world. So here Jen's mom grew up in Michigan. They When she would come to Michigan, she went to the same uh what do I want to say, bakery that I grew up in. And then my mom and her grandma were friends and mentor mentee back in the day. So bizarre. So bizarre. And here we sit now, you know, 2 years later, right? It's only 2 years because we're only 23, I think we
Right.
discussed.
That's true.
But having this conversation and being in totally two different states and still connected, and I'm so happy to see the path that you've taken. And for those of you that don't know Jen, first of all, you got to follow her because she is so smart, so giving. She will teach you the things that you need to know. And you're a ton of fun. I mean, you're so fun and you're such a go-getter and so competitive in the best possible way. And I'm just really excited to see where you are at this time next year. I just think it's
Thank you.
super cool. Super cool.
Thank you.
What For anybody that's out there that is interested in being a franchisee and opening a business, tell me one thing about the process that how do I want to say this? Because it's not that it was hard, but what was one thing about the process that was unexpected that you could give some advice to somebody coming in?
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing is you're not looking at other businesses. You really need to look at yourself. What will make
Mm.
you content? And there were a lot of industries that seemed great on the surface, but I was just wondering, can I do this day after day and be happy? Because why become an entrepreneur? Work for yourself if you're not going
Mhm.
to have joy in it. And
Yeah,
so that was the biggest thing, was just kind of digging and exploring what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do something that was service based. And, one of the things tossed around was being a part of the health industry, which I have a lot of experience with that, having a child who has serious health issues. And that sounded great at first glance. And then I started to really think about that. Do I really want to bring myself to be involved? Because I do get involved with other people's health issues.
yeah,
And I knew at that time that would just be a burden to me and not the joy it should be. And
yeah,
so I ended up passing on that. So I think the biggest thing really is to look at yourself and to decide, can I do this every day with joy? Because you are a leader for your team. And if you
yeah.
don't love what you're doing, that's going to reflect to your employees, to the customers that they serve. And I'm like a little bit ADHD. I love to learn, and that's because I get bored. Well, this is an industry that is never boring. Number one, there's so many certifications and trainings and other cross industries that provide
Mhm.
opportunities to learn, but every situation is different and I love it. It is just so much fun. And that's because I know who I am. So, really, before you get a franchise, you have to know and understand who you are.
Oh, I love that. Great, great, great advice. One last question for you. And what is the best way to get a hold of you?
You can definitely find me on LinkedIn. A lot of people, that's how you find me. Or you can just look for True North Restoration of Noonan at noonan.gotruenorth.com.
Excellent. Well, Jen, thanks so much for jumping on this call with me and sharing a little bit about your journaling. Maybe you are journaling. I don't know. About the journey that you've been through. And like I said, I can't wait to have this conversation again next year and just see how much things have changed and grown for you. And for anybody out there watching, one of the things that we love to do is talk to the people behind the brands who's out there making things happen, who's leading with visibility, who's leading with leadership, and who's making an impact. And Jen, you are certainly one of those people. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, thank you for giving me a platform to do it.
All
You
right.
and your team are fantastic. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Well, make sure to like and follow, and we will be back with yet another interview shortly. Bye bye.